I just want to give the people what they want.
Well, that's why we're here.
Uh,
Um,
yeah. So, welcome to another episode of the Culture Gumbo podcast. It's a podcast where we bring you everything that you can think of, from pop culture to music, television, entertainment, anything that's going on in your area. We definitely want to talk about it. Sit down, give you a bowl, and feed your soul.
the great
Um,
part about it is the internet is called the World Wide Web. So we get the opportunity to share things from all over the world, not just in the United States. So look out for some international stuff too. Yeah.
all that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what Shakira does. You know what I mean? Shakira, I don't know, but I know it's some dope stuff. It's been a really busy week. It's been a frustrating week. A very heartfelt week. So we definitely want to get into some topics. Definitely want to take a moment to talk about the shooting that happened this week with Dante Wright. It happened, of course, in
Oh,
Minnesota.
this
Um,
is a huge sigh.
it's a lot. We definitely want to go ahead and get into some different conversations. Johnson and Johnson, the Johnson vaccine is actually currently being recalled or being suggested to be put on hold.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely want to get into that. Talk about some things that's happening this week in entertainment. Little Nas X's his shoes were actually being recalled, and I found out today they're actually pulling a song, man, which I don't think that's fair. So definitely want to get into that.
Okay.
Um, but I want to start the week. Um, it hurt. DMX, probably one of the greatest artists of our time, especially for me personally, passed away this week. They
Almost.
were saying it was due to a heart attack. That was like I don't like to speculate, but they said it was a heart attack due to a drug overdose. But some stories don't confirm it.
And then yeah, they
Um,
said he took the vaccine, the COVID vaccine, 2 weeks prior.
oh
Um,
yeah, somebody his family came out and said that they don't believe that had anything to do with that. I saw that too.
yeah, so we really don't know. And that's the thing about the news. It's like people leak things before, like even before he died, before his family decided to pull the plug off of pull the plug so his no more oxygen or not on the machine. Lou is it Lunell, the comedian, had already posted, which I don't think was her place, but she had already posted, farewell, my friend. And although she was close to him, I don't know if it was her place to necessarily put it out there first. So then Twitter and everybody went crazy, like RIP, RIP. And then his manager did a Instagram live saying, please, he still let the family make an announcement. He's still on, he's still alive. And it's like, something like that is a hard decision to make. I've had family members that was on the machine and a decision had to be made.
Yeah.
I even have a family member that maybe about 6 months ago, their father had got into a car accident, and when he got into the car accident, he had a heart attack, and his son didn't want to let him go for selfish reasons, so he kept him on the machine for like 2 weeks.
Mm.
And it was because he knew it was selfish, and the doctor started calling all the family members and was like, please try to talk him, like let him know like his dad is not coming out of this coma. And when you have to make a decision like that, you want to be selfish, in all honesty, and you want to have hope like they're going to still come through, because everybody was praying for DMX to come through. But at the end of the day, we always have to realize when it's your time, it's just your time. And there's nothing that we can do about that. So, it's just a hard loss. I still haven't come to even playing the whole album because I went into this like social media like search. Like I started searching every hashtag for DMX, and I watched all the clips of him going live and him being with his kids, and just him as a person before the music, and just realizing how much of a great artist he was, but how much of a great man he was, and how much he loved his family and kids, and some shows that he had recently been on. And so this is I felt like this was a hard loss for me because I'm from the East, you're from the East Coast. Like this, if you're from the East Coast, period, if you're from the tri-state area, the Philly, New York, Connecticut, like that whole tri-state, New Jersey, it's a different kind of loss. It was like, I felt like I lost a soldier. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, it for me, it was definitely hard because X when people talk about my childhood coming up, there's about a handful of people I name. I always say Allen Iverson, because Allen Iverson taught me swagger. I say, DMX, of course, taught me that aggression. You know what I'm saying? So you have those people who you grew up and you idolize. I think what kind of the biggest thing I took from it, the first thing you talked about was with people announcing it. I want us to begin to normalize not saying anything until we have the full news. Right. It seemed like
that's so hard
over a course of a couple of days, we went back and forth on if he was alive, if he wasn't alive. And that's just kind of a trauma that people don't want to continue to live. Because I had a friend call me and was like hysterical and was like, "Oh my God, DMX died." And I was like, he's not dead. They still have him on the ventilator.
Put somebody in the grave before they get there.
Right. That's the biggest thing I definitely want to normalize. Now, when it comes to the loss is insurmountable. I know we can remember periods where we can remember people passing away. I mean, I remember being at the school bus stop when we found out about Tupac. I can remember playing basketball at my best friend's house when we found out about Princess Diana. I can remember waking up and hearing about Biggie Smalls. I mean, there's a bunch of different people we can hear about.
I cried
this on definitely resonates, especially at a time only because we had just saw X a few weeks ago on Versus, getting his flowers, getting the love that he deserved, overcoming everything that he had overcome. And to see it happen like this was very, really rough. The one thing that really stood out too was, I'm not sure if you saw it, but Roxanne Shante
that hurt my heart.
A story that really, you definitely understand when she just talked about the traumas that they lived because they had the same type of upbringing.
Right. Being a foster child, being raised by people who don't care and they just want that check. That's a whole, first of all, let's just start there. That's a whole different topic in itself. To be raised as a foster child because you already feel unwanted because you're not with your biological family, right? So you feel like you're missing out on something. You feel like you get identity issues. You don't know who you are. And if you guys haven't seen that, please go find the Roxanne Shante, go to her page. It was so emotional. And I felt every statement that she said. And it was just like, her thing was finding that peace. And that's what he wanted to find, the peace in his life, because his mom walked him to the stairs of a foster home and was like, "Oh, we're going to go visit," and left him there, and then after that, you trust someone and they lace your blunt with liquid cocaine, crack. He said crack. And then you go through life not knowing who to trust, if you can even trust someone. So you got the trust issues, you got the identity issues, you got the internal, just everything. And so I understood, like, even when Swiss Beats said he wanted to he would go to jail just to find the peace. And I felt that.
It's crazy. I thought that was really, it was really telling based off of how he broke that down. I thought that was just
right. And I know, and here's the crazy part. I know people that have told me that they were intentionally going to go do something so they could go to jail because they don't have to worry about finding a bed where they're going to sleep at night, and they don't got to worry about food, and they don't got to worry about not having entertainment and TV. And they were like, I get to work out. And at the time, you know, I mean, I was like a teenager or maybe in my 20s, and I'm like, yo, why you keep going in and out of jail? You know, I mean, I hung with people that did dirt, and I didn't, but I hung out with them. And you know, he'd be like, yo, because it's peace. I don't gotta go. I don't have to worry about how I'm gonna eat. I don't have to stress. I don't have to worry about the cares of life. So I took so much from the death of this passing of DMX, because it lets you know how important it is to cherish life, to live life, and to not be afraid to share your testimony, because you don't know who you're going to impact and what effect you're going to have on their lives.
I wrote some things down because I knew that we were going to have this conversation, and there were some things that I took from it that I guess normally you wouldn't take from it. The first thing I took from it is understanding that a lot of people see God through various sources.
Right.
I was seeing people write things about DMX going to hell, and you know, he didn't know God, this and that and the other. And there were literally concerts where X would start a prayer. You know what I'm saying? And you know, his albums. Like, there were men and women who met DMX, who met God through DMX. So that's the first thing, is us making sure that we don't judge a book by its cover. I think it's important that mental health is addressed. A lot of times we write people off automatically because we feel as though, oh, you know, this person is crazy, or this person has done that, or this person is an addict. 9 times out of 10, these things are happening because it's a cry for help. They don't understand, and it's not to say that X didn't understand, but you can see from interviews and how transparent he was that there was a pain there that just in many ways wasn't being addressed, or couldn't be addressed. And the first thing I think about is, you know, I think about as a Black man, how much, you know, we hold pain inside. You know what I'm saying? We go through those things. I saw someone share a post and they talked about how, you know, Black men come up in trauma situations if they don't have their father figures, because the father figures that we do have around, you know, end up being rapists, murderers, drug addicts, and they end up harming us in the longer run. And then if we create a pattern that goes through it. So it's like we have to get to a point where we start to acknowledge these things in our young Black men, because if we don't, it's going to create a cycle that's never going to break. It's never going to change. There's some things that at 36 that I'm just now learning how to work through. You know what I'm saying? I have an amazing mother. You know what I'm saying? And you know, me and my father, you know, reconnected recently, and the man who raised me is my dad. You know, but there were things that they weren't able to connect with me because, you know, being younger, and you go through your own personal problems. Yeah, so it's just one of those things where even when you're blessed to have those people, we have to normalize therapy. We have to normalize telling Black boys that it's okay not to be okay.
It's okay not to be okay. And
we have to normalize the fact that sometimes when kids get into trouble or mischief, it's not that they're bad kids and we have to stop writing these kids off. A lot of these things happen, and a lot of these things are written off, and we see it from our favorite artists and our favorite actors and our favorite people in pop culture, because they went through these things and they've channeled this into their art. DMX is definitely going to be missed fully. I encourage everyone to please stream his music. You know, the more you stream his music, you know, it definitely goes to the family. I've been singing What's My Name religiously. Like, yo, I've been DMX for the past week. Like, I'll bark right now.
Go ahead, do
but
it.
arf, arf, arf.
That's like a
Wolf.
dog,
You know what
but
I'm talking about?
trying to get up.
Well, I'm a bear. I'm not a dog, so that's neither here nor there. But
Yeah,
yeah,
almost like bear dog. Okay.
but I definitely just I took so much from it, and it definitely makes you look at those things in the mirror, especially when that's somebody that you idolize. So,
Right.
um, definitely peace and blessings to him on his journey. Blessings
Much
to his
love
family.
to his family and his
I know Yonkers
kids.
is going to be crazy. They're getting ready. They're actually planning on, I think, doing a street name or a statue for him out there, which is amazing. And let's give people their flowers while they're alive. The
I see.
dopest thing in the world was seeing that verses and seeing him jam out and rock out. And then you see those videos of him bopping the R&B music. Like, I love to see that. So
Yeah, and most of it's so funny because I feel like a lot of rappers' favorite music is R&B. It's
yeah,
not rap, but
that's the essence of the music, though.
yes. So I said I definitely think it's important. Love on who loves on you, and and make sure that you tell them that instead of saying they know how I feel. Tell them how you feel. Tell them now why you have them. So when they leave this earth, because we all have to leave at some point, that that they really know because you told them and you said it, you hugged them. In whichever way you know how to love until you learn, want to be able to say it verbally. So um we're gonna miss DMX, but his music and his life will continue to live on forever.
Most definitely, most definitely. So let's go from one X to another X, and not to compare.
They not.
Uh, Lil Nas X is currently going through some things. I know he was going through it on Twitter, where they were talking about his music was actually being his song. I think it's Monorail was being pulled from streaming services. Nike actually filed a lawsuit concerning his shoes, and that actually stopped production. So it's definitely been a crazy week there. But concerning his music, I want to say this, and I can't put this no planner. You don't have to approve of Little Nas X. Like, he doesn't make music for everybody, and that's fine.
Right. I
The
agree with that.
issue, the issue that I have is we have a tendency to pick and choose what we feel is acceptable and what we feel is not acceptable. Now,
No, the issue is that we have become a society that has an opinion about everything. That's the bigger issue is that we feel way more vocal than we ever felt, like especially in here in the
but
United
it's social media. We're gonna be You're gonna be forced to feel that way because now you feel as though you have your own personal voice.
right, but
But
it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right. I don't agree. Whether I like the person's music or not, like that's why people have fans and then you have non-fans.
so because you're I know that you're bothered by this, and I definitely want to get into this. Are you more bothered by the scripture on the shoes, or are you bothered by the message in his video?
So there's so many messages in his video, right? I don't care. I think that, yeah, I don't care. The shoes could have been the shoes for all I care about, honestly, right? But then Nike, like, hey, that's our name. We not behind it. Pull them. So my thing is, pull it. The song could have stayed there for all I care. The video, see, I guess because I grew up in an era rather, sorry, where I watched videos all the time. Like I was a video, like I couldn't wait for the video. As soon as a song came out, I waited for the video. So I looked forward to the video. So when a video like that comes out, it's like, what is this? Now, granted, I understand that the song is crazy, but I feel like the video. So let me just say this. I feel like that about a lot of videos that's out right now. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to just say, oh, to Lil Nas X or whatever. I feel like videos today don't have the character videos had in the past. Now, I mean, like, at least you gave me some imagination a little bit. I think that this video is stupid. I think it's stupid. I think it's really not necessary. I think it's over the top. And when you talk about cry for help, this video cries for help. Like, this video to me cries for help because it cries for attention. It wasn't made for nothing else besides attention. So it's not really about the whole scripture base. It's more or less like,
you feel like it's over.
Where are you going? What do you want? You know what I mean? And what did you want people to, what reaction did you want from this? You wanted it to be, oh my God, he's blasphemous and yada, yada, yada. It's just like, it doesn't make, it's not even it's a dark video. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even something that like somebody gonna get from it and they're like, oh, you know, that video was cool.
But
spent mad money on the video.
But you didn't state. You sound like an old lady right now. Because you didn't state exactly what your issue was.
I don't like the video.
You just said it was a dark video, but you didn't say why.
I don't like it. There's not one particular thing. Like, I don't like.
Okay. Devil's advocate here. Give me your favorite artist of all time.
I can't tell you that. Stevie Wonder.
Nah, son, don't even try to go there with Stevie Wonder.
You said of all time.
That's a cop out.
I'm gonna name someone old. I'm not gonna name.
Give me your favorite hip hop artist of all time.
It's hard. That's hard. That's hard. You can't tell me that. But of course, I got a top 5. You know, I could say Nas is one of my favorites. I would say.
Okay, Nas.
And Tupac is one of my favorites. Now, Nas did have an album. Nas did have a video that was a little dark. I forgot the name of the song. Maybe it was Ether. To throw that out there. I think it was Ether. But I've never watched a video that wasn't like, oh, that was dope. Or I like how they played that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get the point of this video. I don't get the point at all. And I feel like every video has a story to tell. And if you feel like capturing being in hell is the story.
So
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Next.
So here's the thing, right? I get that. But these artists make these visuals and these videos from their own personal artistic visions.
No, it's not theirs. It's the person who's making it. It's not even theirs. That's why they have videographers. Like, it wasn't him. He didn't come up with the concept. Somebody else did.
But he has to help come up with it in order to do it. They're not just going to do it just based off of that. The thing is, you have to give the artist the artistic freedoms that they want. Now, you might not like it, but you may not like it. That just made people.
And that's all I'm saying. I don't care for it. I don't like it. It to me, the video.
But do you feel like he has the freedom to show the video?
Every artist has the freedom to make music. That's why you're called a creative, right?
Because when he talked about the video,
should the video be on every platform? No.
Yes. Why can't it be?
No. I don't want my 5-year-old watching that video.
Okay, well, then if you don't want your 5-year-old watching that video, then that means that the platform that you're on should have parental.
It's on every. There's no parental. That's what I'm saying.
There's no parental restrictions on what?
On his video.
How? You can go to YouTube and put parental restrictions on the video.
I guarantee you his video has no parental restrictions.
It's not his video. It's people changing the settings to what they deem is good for their children. That's not up to the artist. That's the biggest takeaway for me is that we can't give these artists artistic freedom. We can't celebrate them when they do something liberating, and then when they do something that we don't.
I'm not a Nas X fan, so I don't have to celebrate him at all.
So you ain't listen to Old Town Road at no time, and you're
when
like
it first came out, but before I heard it and I was like, oh, this is cool. Okay, sorry, Billy Ray, okay, whatever. That's cool. But it wasn't a video, it wasn't like, oh, I'm waiting for his next song. No. I don't care. He's not my kind of cup of tea of who I want to listen to. I thought, okay, he's a different artist. Do I believe in creative expression? Yes, I do. And whatever that means for you is fine. I just think that there should be some sort of restrictions when you start to go left. You got what I'm saying? And I agree with that, even with movies and films. Once you start to go to a porno, then, hey, like, should this be in the movie theater?
But that's why you have the ratings, and that's why
the video doesn't have ratings.
But no, listen. What I'm saying is that's why movies have ratings, and that's why you can put parental restrictions.
You can't put parental restrictions on all. Well, you might be able on some TVs, the smart TVs, but not every TV.
No, you do it on the actual app. You do it on YouTube.
Right, but we're talking about if you watching TV. What if somebody watch and then they're promoting, oh, this is upcoming.
But when they're showing it on TV, they're gonna blur it out only based off of the fact that you technically can't show certain things on their period. And if you want to see,
that's what I'm saying. I don't think that happens anymore.
Yeah, that happens. They don't just
like on radio. You used to know
when we were kids and we watched Uncle Luke video. If you wanted to see the uncut Uncle Luke video,
you had to watch it on the late night. You had the late night watch it.
Yeah, you went to BET Uncut.
But that's what I'm saying. There's no late night, nothing.
Right, but what I'm saying is they're not gonna show that whole video as is on national TV without blurring out the parts that they don't feel. They're not even going to show that on TV.
It on Facebook with no viewer discretion. They're showing it on TV.
Okay, well, first of all, little kids shouldn't be on Facebook anyway. So that's that on that. And even if they are, you can add restrictions to what them kids can see on Facebook.
I don't agree, but okay.
So, and you're an artist. You know you can't have no restrictions. Madonna was up there in the 1980s, like the prayer joint with Leon. And I think it was Leon, and she was doing it like a prayer joint. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. I don't think that you should take creatism or whatever. I don't think you should take it from the artist. But what I'm saying is, I think there should be like the fact that he could go and create a sneaker from a video that he didn't even get clearance for yet, and then market. My thing is, I'm not a fan, and that's just the bottom line. You can do what you want. Y'all can watch whatever you want. We in America, there's no restrictions to nothing. But
this isn't true. What? Where are you watching this stuff where you are not getting restrictions?
Yo, there's no
happening everywhere.
Stuff.
You cannot. Let me tell you something. Have you ever watched the movie on BET?
Who watches BET still?
Listen. Have you ever watched the movie on BET?
Yeah, but BET.
Okay. For instance, when Juice is on is on TV, and they be like, "Oh yeah,"
but that's because it was still
get out of here.
Like that back in the day. If Juice came out today, you'd be able to watch it.
They would not. They don't show it on TV like that, Shakira.
Okay,
I'm gonna prove it to you because you'll go on BET. You know what? You'll watch Minister Society on BET, and he'd be like, "Man, fuck these mother cluckers." And they like, what?
That's because they cut it out back in the day. So they left it. They left those cuts on there.
They do it now. Moving on.
Come back with some proof. Because I done seen some stuff that I'd be like, whoa, this is easy access.
Hey, what are you watching?
Anything that comes up sometimes. and things come up and I'll be like, how is this? Why can this be shown? But whatever.
Moving.
Okay.
Moving.
So bottom line is you're creative, do what you want. But keep in mind, you do have fans. And your fans will love you if those are your fans. And that's that. And I don't care for Lil Nas X. Okay.
Moving on.
And I don't care
No.
if somebody got something to say in the comments either.
People be in our comments eating you up, y'all.
I don't care.
They like, yo.
Because I have my opinion and I can say what I want. I'm not saying, out him and he shouldn't be an artist and yada, yada, yada. I don't care if he's an artist. I just don't think that everything needs to be easy access to see everything and yada, yada, yada. But anyway, I'm old, so.
Yes, I know, because you was out here on the poll for Bill Clinton back in '92.
You will not leave that alone.
I'm not, yo. It's going forever. So recently, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Vaccines, of course, have not been popular.
It's called Johnson blood clot vaccine. Good.
Yeah, you going to hell with gasoline draws on. So the CDC and FDA are currently recommending that the U.S. actually pause on the Johnson & Johnson vaccine because it is actually causing a blood clot in some individuals. There's actually 6 cases right now. I believe they're all women where the blood clot was caused, and it actually caused 1 death. Now, there are people who have already taken the vaccine.
And that is a low percentage, so I am going to say that.
Yeah,
but I'm not getting Johnson.
So,
actually, I'm not getting the vaccine, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I was about to ask you how you feeling about the vaccine. So you're not going to get the vaccine?
Mm-mm. And it's funny because if my mother sees this, she'll laugh because because she got it, and my stepdad got it. I mean, a few family members and close friends have gotten it, and they'll ask me like, "Did you go get yours?" And I'm like, "No." And my mother was like, "You have to," and I was like, "No, I have a choice, and I'm choosing not to."
You're trying to beat Will Smith and I Am Legend. You're trying to be the only person left.
Yeah. Then everybody else is vaccinated, and I'm good to go. And I was just, it's so funny because today I was talking to my brother and he was like, are you getting it or whatever? And he was saying how a lot of people are having, debates back and forth. And I'm not against anyone getting it, because I feel like if you do work in an industry where you are around a lot of people, I believe you should get it. I think if you have health issues, I believe you should get it because you're more susceptible to getting COVID. So why not get the vaccine? I do believe if you work in the medical field, if you're a teacher with students, I do believe you should get it. I just am making the choice that, I'm keeping my health in a great state and making sure that I keep my immune system up. That don't mean that I can't get it. And I don't think I have immunity either, but I'm just making that decision that as of right now, I'm not getting it. That don't mean that I'll never, ever get it.
You're just right now, you just feel like you're gonna.
Right now, I'm not. I'm just gonna wear a mask.
So is it for you? Is it how quickly it became available? Is it
no, because I did read that they have been working on a similar vaccine, not necessarily for COVID, but doing tests for years. And I heard that the other day on the radio, like they have been doing tests for years. So people feel like, oh, it came out too soon, but really they've been doing this for years. They just haven't did it on like animals. They didn't do like a trial run or anything like that. But for me, I just think that I know my body, and I just don't think that my body will react right to it. Part of that is because a few years ago, I took a flu shot. And it was the one and only time I took a flu shot, and I took it. And then within 24 hours, I was like felt like death for like, I was almost out of work for like a week and a half
From the
now,
flu shot?
from a flu shot. And it took me out. And ever since I had that, and my body just did not do well with it.
Yeah.
And my mom, like, they get flu shots faithfully every year. And, I know a lot of people that, they make sure they get them. But once that happened to me, like, even though that was like maybe 6, 7 years ago, that experience alone just was like, I don't want nothing shot in my body.
So I can understand that. I understand both sides of it, and I'm definitely not a person that's going to tell people what to do concerning it. I wasn't big on the Johnson vaccine personally, mainly because I feel like they still have a lot to answer for from the
The
damn
baby powder.
talcum baby powder that we loved as kids and it was so popular. Um, I'm planning on getting it. I live in Florida, and as in Florida, our governor does Florida things, and things have been delayed.
And it's high. In Florida, y'all numbers are stupid high.
Yeah, definitely doing my research. Definitely did my research continuously. I actually talked to a lot of friends in the medical field just so that I could feel at ease. My biggest reason for taking it is not only because I want to protect the people that I love around me and I want to protect myself, considering that I've already had it. But I want to get back to doing hood rat shit with my friends. I haven't seen my brothers in a while. There's things that I want and need to do. Do I believe that the vaccine is the end all be all based off what they're saying? I don't, because now I've read recently that the vaccine only lasts for 6 months. But I'm starting to get away from reading the news and just going to get all my news from Twitter, because Twitter is usually the most. Sadly, Twitter is usually the most accurate place to get the news, because Twitter will get rid of fake news or somebody's gonna call them out on fake news. Right. But the one thing that I suggest to everyone is to continue to take care of yourself, no matter what you do. And please still wear a mask, even if you get the vaccine. Please still wear a mask. The mask doesn't make you a fucking Ghostbuster. It doesn't. It doesn't make you immune to not harming anybody. We still have to make sure that we do everything we can to curb this, because we've lost so many people, and I've lost so many people directly and indirectly, people who were really important to me. And it left a lasting effect. I mean, I personally feel like we're all dealing with a form of PTSD from this pandemic, and we're still in the middle of it. There's a chance that the spike can still continue. So I just want us to make sure that we all do our part. You know what I mean? I'm not an advocate for being all out there. I'm not about to be at nobody's, buffet doing the most, you know what I'm saying? But, I definitely want to wish, I want to see everybody. I want you all to enjoy the podcast. I want to get out there and eventually hug you all by 2023. So, if you decide not to take it or what, please definitely continue to take care of yourself. And if you take the vaccine, make sure you have someone there with you, because sometimes there are side effects. But do your research. That's the first thing that I say.
Research and do your research, and also just be okay with your decision. That's one thing for me. Like, that's why I say it's not that I'll never ever get it, because who knows? Because here's my thing. I do want to travel internationally. And if it becomes a requirement for me to do that, then I may consider doing that. Sad that I'm considering it for traveling purposes, but it's my reality. But I think that the most important thing is that you take care of yourself and you be careful with the family and friends that you are around, because life is precious and fragile. And that's one thing that we've learned during this pandemic, and losing people, which I unfortunately have lost a decent amount of people this year and last year. And so it is important. Yeah, I know I might be a hermit for the next year. I'm okay with that. Not okay, but I'm okay with it. If that means that, people are going to be safe. So.
So we will make it.
Hold
It'll
off on that Johnson Johnson and get the other two.
yeah, Moderna and Pfizer. So
Yeah,
you'll
yeah.
definitely do your research and talk to your people that's closest to you. Lastly, you want to unfortunately talk about the shooting that took place. 20-year-old in Minnesota, unfortunately, was it's difficult talking about it because not only is it so fresh, but I have younger brothers. Essentially, if you have not heard, this young man was actually in a car. I believe he was in a car with a young lady. I think it might have been his girlfriend. Was stopped at due to what they're saying is an air freshener in the rearview mirror. He was pulled over. His mother was on the call, was on the phone with him while he was going through it because he was trying to understand exactly what was happening. And from what they're saying is that cops asked him to exit the car. He exited the car. Body cam shows that they were going to arrest him. At some point, there was a struggle. And then at some point in the video, you see the cop, Kim Potter, actually pull out her gun. There's maybe a 5-6 second delay, and then the gun goes off.
And she was shaky already. And she said she meant to
pull a taser.
Pull her taser.
But the thing is, if you're pulling a taser and when you see the video, yes, everybody can talk about what they would have done, this and that and the other, blah, blah. But the thing is, you are protecting and serving. You've been on the force for 26 years. And of course, stories came out immediately after about cover-ups that she was a part of, et cetera, which I won't go into that. But you're to protect and serve. When you allow something like this to happen, and then they say it's an accidental discharge, it wasn't an accidental discharge. It was a murder.
Murder.
I can't sugarcoat that.
Even the cop she was with couldn't believe that she shot him.
I don't want to hear from people about how he shouldn't have resisted, and it's unfortunate because talking to his mother, even his mother said, it shouldn't have ended like that. He's a 20-year-old kid. He was already scared of the cops. Living in the city he's living in, there's a trial going on 10 to 20 miles from where they currently are for George Floyd dying. And we're asking these kids to be comfortable with cops who are still not reaching out to the neighborhoods, who are still not going out to the neighborhoods and connecting with these people. You cannot police an area in which you are not familiar with.
And that is the main training that needs to happen. If you live 25 minutes, 30 minutes outside of the area that you are policing, you have no connection with what these people are living like. First of all,
all that training talk, that's dead at this point.
But when something does have to happen.
Yeah, but when Philando Castile died, there was a law that was put into place. There was money that was put into place for that state and for those cities so that they can better train these police officers. Right. So you better train these police officers, and then you have George Floyd, and then you have multiple situations after that.
No, it's not the money. What I'm saying is not necessarily just about police academy training. I'm saying like going into communities and having these conversations, like, because at the end of the day, that's like a doctor operating on somebody they never even x-rayed their body. They don't know what they're doing. They just gonna open you up and do it. And that's what's happening with this right now, because I just feel like people been on the force too long to tell me they didn't know a difference between a gun and a taser. And they didn't, they thought the person had a gun, because there was a rumor saying that too. Oh, I thought he had something or was going to pull out something. I just feel like I don't know when this is going to end. And at this point, it's like, throw away the police And I know people watching on here might be, I'm not saying all law enforcement are horrible, but I'm saying those that are still acting on impulse and quote unquote just doing, like, no one has to die, or why are guns drawn when you're getting pulled over for something stupid? Like, even if he had a warrant, even if he had whatever, he didn't threaten your life, so there should be no reason for a gun to even be in the picture.
Well, there was another situation that recently came up with the gentleman, the lieutenant in Virginia,
right,
where they immediately pulled up on him, and guns were drawn immediately also, and this was only done because he drove a mile ahead to get to a lit area, and guns were drawn on him, and the guy in the video said he about to go on the lightning something like that, but he made,
and then they said he drove too slow, which is like, if you get pulled over if you drive too fast, you get to pull over, drive slow. But at the end of the day, he knows he was in this rural area. He's a black man, but not only that, the way they treated him, being a officer, lieutenant in the Army, to be treated like that. And then they said his window, his tints were too dark. But since when does a gun need to be drawn because your tints are too dark and they couldn't see? And my thing is, now I just feel like,
I'm not an advocate to bash the police.
I'm not bashing the police.
No, I'm not saying you are. I won't do that, and I can't do that. However, I do believe that there has to be some accountability within that group of individuals that has to take place for change to be made. We can't continuously be talking about giving police money to do this and do that, especially if things aren't changing. And Minneapolis is literally the prime example of where that has to change. Right. First of all, you've got people literally on these forces who are known racists, who are a part of hate groups, essentially.
But that's what I'm
saying. Get off work, and it's like they're wearing the T-shirt underneath their uniform. So
they probably are.
Too many things have to change. With the case of Dante Wright, what hurts the most is that this is a 20-year-old kid with a 2-year-old who no longer has a father, with a mother and father who no longer have their son. Right. And all this could have completely have been avoided if someone not only would have checked their nerves at the door when they went to go handle the situation, and then to come to find out now she's resigned. Now I do know that they're talking about,
and the other officer resigned, but I don't think that's enough. That's not enough.
Well, they're not, because they're actually talking about still bringing charges, but I think they were trying to. I think it has something to do with their pension. I'm not sure. But there has to be a systematic change. We constantly talk about showing love and doing things of that nature, and that's the most important thing. But it has to start with the people who are in leadership.
Right. Who should want to be feared? Like, at the end of the day, like, I have family members that are in law enforcement.
Yeah.
But they're in law enforcement in the hood, where they came from. They're police officers, they're lieutenant, like, they have higher rank positions, but they are officers from where they're from. So they it's about, I know my hood, you know what I mean? Let's figure out how to get this in order. Now everybody not going to cooperate, of course, but I do think that, and even though they're still hiring for police officers, I'm not saying that you got to work where you're from, but you do need to know. I mean, that's
the only issue that you're going to run into that I've talked to friends about who have wanted to go into law enforcement is that once you get in, to a certain extent, it's still a good old boys network.
It is.
There has to be a change on the inside out.
It is
definitely,
because then everybody turns on you. You remember that movie? I forgot the name of it.
Did you just growl? Did you just growl?
Yeah. Because because I can't think of it. You know, I was in a DMX mode. But it was about the Black cop that became an officer in a rural neighborhood, and he was really there to try to help the community and, you know, do better. And they kind of ganged up on him and tried to kick him out the force because they felt like, you know, this is how we operate over here and you're messing it all up. I'll come back with the title of that, but
I bet
it
you
was
it's
a really good
BET.
movie because it was reality.
I bet you it's a BET movie.
Huh?
I bet you it's the BET movie, and you swear, but now you don't watch BET. They
No.
probably say Mother Clucker when they was talking to him.
But I said that to say, like, you know, I don't know at this point, like you said, like it might have to happen in pockets, right? So let's first deal with what's happening in Minnesota. That whole state, let's figure it out. And I think it's another state, it's not Ohio, I think it's Colorado, where they have these enforcement teams that deal with just people with mental illnesses. And so when you call
It can't be Colorado then, because Colorado's still dealing with Elijah McClain.
Oh yeah,
So,
well, I don't know if it's, I don't think it's Colorado, but it is a state where when you call 911 and they say the person, you know, has some type of mental issue, instead of the police officers coming out, they come out. And it's a group of mental professionals instead of it being the cops. And I think that might be, I mean, of course, if you're pulling somebody over for a warrant or whatever, that may be different. But I do think, do you need, like, how many officers was out there? Like 5, 6 officers was out there for this one car, you know?
that's what happens. That's personal experience. Ain't nothing like being pulled over and that cop car there and the other 2 cop cars. Listen, I've been there. You going to jail.
I've been there.
When that second and third cop car pull up, that's it.
Go.
They show up in droves. It's like a New Edition video.
Right. But I feel like the other cops in the other cars should not get out until the first 2 tells them there's no need. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need backup. So I just feel like the systems that we have need to just be thrown out and new systems need to be in place, because otherwise we're going to keep having this happen, and it's not happening in any other neighborhoods besides with people of color. And I think that
because your police,
it's like, how many more names do we need to add to the list? How many more young kids?
Your police what are considered the poor neighborhoods,
right? You know, and that was the other piece I was gonna say. You know, it's been a trying time in even over the course of this last year, with this all the killings, but not only that, financially. You know what I mean? I mean, people lost their jobs, how income, like, you're not making it. So it's like, you don't even know what half of the people are going through. And like you said, PSD, just all this stuff that we have to deal with and carry every day. And there's no consideration of that.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, I'm not saying give us some slack, but what I am saying is, like, be open and vulnerable to the situation. Because if I'm a 20-year-old Black man right now in this country, I would be terrified. Honestly.
We've been terrified since we got here.
But yeah, it never stopped. It hasn't stopped. And I think that that's where it's like, we've been fighting for a long time. And I don't know what else we can do to prove we're not a threat just because we're darker.
There's a lot to unpack there, and we'll continue to unpack it in the near future. I just want to continue to pray for Dante Wright's family. I hope I'm saying that young man's name right.
Yeah, Dante Wright.
Just want to continue to pray for his family. Pray for the people in Minnesota. Pray for George Floyd. We still haven't gotten answers that we want on Breonna Taylor.
Right, and his
daughter
and family.
And there's Sandra Bland. We have millions and millions of answers that we haven't gotten from people. And until people get those answers, it can't be with liberty and justice for all. That's it.
We definitely don't live in that arena. Justice for all, equality for all. So
yeah. So definitely want to
keep the
continue to
hope
pray about that and keep hope on that.
and stay alert. Just stay alert of your surroundings, and if you are out here driving,
be an ally. Being an ally is important.
Not saying forget the world, because we still got to live in it right now until things change. So
So that's a somber way to end the podcast. Episode 3 is in the books. We appreciate you joining us. We appreciate you constantly supporting us and just going on this journey with us. This is
watching
for both of us. I know when the comments is on, y'all can kill us over various stuff that's being said. Just make sure that when y'all talk about that,
especially me, and at the end of the day, I'm okay with that. I don't know how I'm going to handle it, honestly. And sometimes I might respond back. You just never know. But the truth is
that y'all pose that to her and not me, because I ain't say it. I ain't do it.
I'm okay with clapping back. And even if you have something negative to say, at the end of the day, we all have our opinions. I respect yours. I hope you respect mine. And that's all I can ask. Respect. Give me respect, and I give you respect, and continue watching, and continue posting, sharing, liking, commenting. We love you.
Yes, we will be up and running with our Instagram and Facebook pages soon, because we definitely want to have guests on. We want to have some of our viewers on, just to be a part of the discussion. So that's definitely
so excited for that too.
I'm excited about this conversation we have coming up soon about dreams. Because dreams are really weird,
and I love dreams because
I'm learning a lot about them.
I do not dream, but some people may believe or not believe, but I don't care. I do believe in interpretation of dreams, and I consider.
So Martin Luther King had a dream, but you didn't. You better.
I just at night, and no dreams coming to me. They just don't come to me. They're
gonna be in the comments getting at you about that. Saying, I'm like, you know what, that girl is she probably needs to season her food better.
They don't come to me. If I have a dream, it's a crazy dream, and it wakes me up in my sleep. So it's never like, oh, I had this dream and it was so good, or I had this dream and it was about this. But people do come to me and say, I had a dream. Tell me what you think, and then I interpret that dream for them, and most of the time it's accurate. And yeah, so that's gonna be fun.
Okay. Well, we definitely thank you all for joining us for episode 3 of this podcast. I'm sorry we're ending it on the summer note. I'm trying to make you all smile, so I'm just gonna take y'all out with DMX. What's my name? Until Shakira ends the recording.
All right.
What's my joint?
I can't hear it.
You can't hear it?
Oh, that's all right.
You can't hear it still?
I can hear it. It's very low though.
How can you do this for 5 minutes?
Love you.